Are we going to see more downside, or are the local lows in? We'll be taking a look at all the majors you can see on the right hand side. A quick look through BTC, Ethereum, ETH BTC, Bitcoin dominance, stablecoin dominance, total 2, the S&P, the dollar and the VIX, and what signals they are showing for some potential short-term price action. We'll also take a look at some alts to watch. You can also see on the right-hand side, because they are at some critical levels of support. We'll also take a quick look at what is happening this week in terms of the macroeconomics. So before we get into the charts, let's go through what's happening this week. As you can see, today is a holiday in the US, so there is no US market open today. That usually means that it's normally quite a quiet day in the markets, particularly in crypto. However, not always. So I have to wait and see on that. In terms of the rest of the week, we've got a couple of speeches from the New York Fed President John Williams and also Fed Chair Powell. He's speaking on Wednesday to the House panel, and then he's testifying to the Senate panel on Thursday. So there's actually a lot of housing stuff, as you can see. So home builder confidence index, housing starts, as I say, Fed Chair Powell testifying to the House panel, existing home sales on Thursday, etc. So a lot of housing stuff, but within there is some stuff that is important to the markets as well. So, as I say, with Fed Chair Powell testifying to the Senate panel on Thursday, I believe that's going to be with relation to the most recent CPI data and FOMC announcement of the pause and what that means in terms of their future strategy. They'll probably be talking about things like recession, future rate hikes, etc. And then we've also got initial jobless claims on Thursday, basically a measure of how the labour market is holding up. And also on Friday, we've got some important data coming from the S&P Flash US Services PMI and S&P Flash US Manufacturing PMI. So it's a quick look at what they are. So this is investing.com. Quick little summary. So the US Services Purchasing Managers Index, the service PMI release is published monthly by Market Economics. The data are based on surveys of over 400 executives in the private sector service companies. The surveys cover transport, communication, financial intermediaries, business and personal services, computing, IT, hotels and restaurants. The main thing you need to be aware of is that the index level of 50 denotes no change since the previous month, while a level above 50 signals an improvement and below 50 indicates a deterioration. Again, the important bit, a reading that is stronger than forecast is generally supportive/bullish for the dollar, while a weaker than forecast is generally negative or bearish for the dollar. So at the moment, as you can see, this is the Purchasing Managers Index, PMI, the US Services PMI. As you can see, it's been looking pretty strong, well above 50, so in the sort of mid 50s the past few months, since basically since the start of the year, not quite. Since March, it's been 50 and above and looking pretty strong. Forecast for another strong month at 54. So that, as it says above, would be bullish for the dollar. However, if we go and take a look at the US manufacturing PMI, you can see it's a bit of a different story. Below 50, actually hit 50 a couple of times in May and has dropped off a little bit. So that would be bearish for the dollar. So bit of a mixed signal there. We'll see what they come in at and whether they affect the markets. Let's get back to the charts. So if we take a look at Bitcoin, let's go from high time frame to low time frame. At the moment, 25.2k holding as monthly support. As you can see, nice little bounce. And another 11 days until the end of the month, so it's looking good to hold. What that means for next month, though, does it continue? We'll have to wait and see. Not much to add on the weekly, apart from nice little bounce last week. Does it sustain that momentum, or does it drop off? Let's drop down to the daily. Now, for me, I am looking for more downside unless we break and hold above this key resistance area between 26.6 and 26.8k. If we get a daily close and hold above 26.8k, I will flip my bias and start looking for more upside, probably targeting 28k first of all, and then if we break and hold above that, then up to sort of the 29-30ks. But for now, resistance is holding as resistance, respecting it well. So until proven otherwise, I am looking for more downside. Same story with Ethereum. Again, if we go high time frame to low time frame, it's at a really crucial point here at 1721 monthly level of support. If it breaks below that and closes, then this whole thing looks like a deviation, and we could see further downside, probably targeting this leg of the move down here at 1195. But for now, it is holding, and as I say, we've got about another 12 days, 11 days to go. If we go to the weekly, again, looking a little bearish. We closed below that 1783 weekly level, and again last week. So my target for more downside on the weekly time frame would be this 1370 start of this leg of the move back here in March, when BTC dropped to 20k. So could be quite a hard, fast drop from Ethereum. We'll have to wait and see, and it's not looking good on the ETH BTC chart either. A lot of weakness coming in here. So you remember we were talking about this potential break of this trend line, but we had to then tackle the 0.07 weekly level of resistance. We failed, broke back inside this weekly bearish trend line. We've also failed to hold this support at 0.066. So in my opinion, I think we're heading back down to these lows we formed in March at 0.062. If we lose that weekly level, then we just continue our journey down to that monthly range low at 0.053, which I've said many times before is probably going to be a really, really good level to start looking at alt BTC pairs. With the confluence as well, that Bitcoin dominance looks like it's going to carry on its journey up towards that 52% monthly level of resistance. Now, of course, this is just an index. It's obviously not an organic asset with price action. It's just an index, but you can still see it respects market structure pretty well. So you can see we've got above and held above 48% on the monthly time frame. Looks like we're going to expand up to 52%. If you take a look at the weekly time frame as well, there's not much in terms of resistance. Again, you've got this 50% level here, but apart from that, pretty straight line. Again, take it with a pinch of salt. It's an index, not an asset with actual price action, but it's certainly in a strong uptrend that is looking to continue. So a move to a 52% probably is going to be in line with a move down to 0.062 on the ETH BTC chart, and then a move even further. So maybe if Bitcoin dominance goes up to 57%, that's when you're going to see ETH BTC hit 0.05, but not guaranteed. Just keep it something to keep an eye on. At the moment, alt's still showing a lot of weakness, and that is why. If we go to the stablecoin dominance, quite an important reclaim of this weekly level here, as you can see over the past 2 weeks, and holding so far. So that could signal some strength in the dollar. If we go to the dollar itself as well, you can see again it's holding its own weekly range lows. So does some strong PMI data coming out at the end of the week support another push for the dollar, which usually means weakness in the cryptocurrency world. So BTC could easily have a drop if there's some strength in the dollar. Not only that, but weakness in the S&P as well. So if we take a look at the S&P, which is currently flying, it's above that 4327 monthly resistance, maybe heading for 4588. So I am expecting a reversal at some point. If we take a look at this weekly time frame, once we got above 4175, we had a little mess around here, a little fake out here, but since then it's just been non-stop pretty much since 13th of March. It's been on a bit of a tear, whereas you compare that to Bitcoin and that has shown relative weakness. So I think the S&P is going to turn around at some point. Whether this becomes a big wick on the monthly, as I've talked about before, and we close below 4327, or we come up to 4588 and reject there, then I think that is going to turn things around and bring crypto down with it, especially with that relative weakness that it's been showing. So as I say, with stablecoin dominance looking like a reclaim of that weekly level, nice deviation, with the dollar on support, with some potential positive strong macro US dollar news coming out with, or data coming out with the PMI at the end of the week. Does the dollar find some support, have a little rally, bring down the S&P, bring down crypto, and also not only that, but the VIX, as I've been talking about before, is at really, really low levels that we've not seen since COVID. So that is usually a good sign that a top is close. Remember that the saying, when the VIX is low, look out below. When the VIX is high, time to buy. So a lot of signals there showing that we may well be looking for a reversal in the S&P, which I believe will bring more downside to Bitcoin. So with all that being said, what does this mean for alt? So as we've seen in ETH BTC, Alts showing relative weakness, not looking too good. I'm showing you these three because they are at vital levels of support. So as you can see, VeChain, if we look left, this is a huge weekly level, which is the current range low. So I've been talking about this ever since we got that weekly close back within the range high. It's just been downside from there. We lost this important weekly level from the 5th of December, closed, and we are right at this bottom of this weekly support range. So does it close below and have more downside? If it does, then you could probably look at it coming to around about a cent. It's currently 1.5 cents. Or do we see a bounce and a rally, maybe for a bearish retest of the weekly mid-range? We'll have to wait and see, but it is right at that important level. So if you are looking to trade this, just beware that that is a potential outcome. ZIL is in a very similar situation, as you can see. Look left, huge level. In fact, you could even put this further across. As you can see, this is a huge level for ZIL. Has been ever since its inception. But yeah, weekly range low. Again, will it hold and have a rally, maybe a bearish retest of the weekly mid-range, or will it close below and drop in further? The next level, again, you're looking at is probably around about a cent or lower. So huge level here for ZIL. And then finally, let's take a look at NEAR. So will VeChain and ZIL hold their levels, or will they end up like NEAR has here, where weekly close below, clear close below $1.25, which was the weekly range low. Had a bearish retest last week, failed to get back inside and deviate. It actually tried right up until the last few hours of yesterday, as you can see. So it was closing above it around midday yesterday, and then it broke down later into the day. So that is a clear sign of rejection for me. So I personally think NEAR could be heading down to below $1, around 94 cents to start this leg of the move here. So, as I say, will ZIL and VeChain hold their weekly range lows, or will they share the same fate as NEAR, which I believe, going off what the chart is showing us here, this bearish retest of the weekly range low, that we are going to head for $1 and potentially lower. Of course, if I'm wrong and we get a weekly close back inside the weekly range low $1.25, then that looks like a good long, as I say, very similar to ZIL and VeChain, maybe along up to this weekly mid-range where it would be an ideal lower high and continuation of the trend. So that's what I'm looking at. Keep an eye on things, the things I've highlighted coming out this week, the speeches and the PMI data, etc. Hope you have a good week, and I will see you on Thursday this week. No video on Friday. The video will be recorded and sent out on Thursday. So keep an eye out for that. Have a good week, and I'll see you then.